If you're struggling to let go of a toxic relationship, if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist and are trying to move on, or maybe you're just trying to reach the decision once and for all to leave them because deep down you know that it's not going to work out, that you are never going to be truly happy in this relationship. Or maybe it's a toxic person who you have employed in your business and you're struggling again to make that final decision and to cut ties with them and to move on. I'm going to share with you a simple exercise that is going to help you get clarity and going to help you be sure that you are making the right decision. So, what you need to do is to grab a piece of paper. You can do it on your computer, of course, or on your iPad or whatever. But I'm an old-fashioned type of girl and like my pen and paper. So on this paper or on the page, your notepad, digital or otherwise, divide it into two halves. And on one side, you're going to make a note of those good points that you keep remembering that are keeping you in the loop. And on the other side, you're going to put a heading, the price you pay or the cost for having these good points, these good times. And then when you've completed it, and it may be a work in progress, something that you do on an ongoing basis, you are going to have some clarity as to the negatives and the cost you have to pay for those fleeting good times. In the grand scheme of things, they will be fleeting, and you will see that those good times, those good points are far outweighed by the negatives. So for example, you might be thinking, oh, well, after I got home from work, they used to listen to my day, what had been going on. They'd ask me how things were. Maybe we'd have an aperitif together. Maybe we'd prepare the evening meal together. And I really miss that, or I really can't imagine losing that. But have a real good think. Were they really listening to you? Or were they on their phone or distracted? Or maybe they turned the conversation at the earliest opportunity around to something concerning them. Maybe you still believe they really were listening and it really was a two-way conversation. Maybe you really think that they were sharing in the preparation of the meal. But have a deep think back to what you did, what they did. The chances are you did the lion's share of any work and they managed to look as though they were doing stuff, but actually you were doing most of what needed to be done. And even if they did help, there will have been a price to pay afterwards. So think to that. What did you owe them for greeting you in the evening, listening to you talk about your day, helping you with the evening meal? There will have been something that it will have been assumed that was your responsibility to do. Maybe it was the clearing up and the washing up of the dishes, or maybe it was some other task because they'd done X, Y, and Z. It was just assumed that it was over to you, and maybe that's just how things were. There will have been a price for anything you got from any one of those scenarios. Perhaps you remember all the shared moments of humour. Maybe you remember that you had a really good laugh together, and again you're missing that, or you can't imagine not having those moments in your life. But think carefully. You know or knew what made them laugh. You knew where their boundaries were, and in bringing up funny anecdotes or telling jokes or funny stories, you will have still, in some capacity, been walking on eggshells and making sure that you were remaining within their boundaries. And again, what was the price for this? The price may be simply that, excuse me, that you weren't free to just make jokes or recount anecdotes about whatever made you laugh. You had to think about them and were feeding them in some way with what you knew or know that they wanted to hear. And what about those moments where all of a sudden something you said in humour, in jest, genuinely, was taken the wrong way? They took it as a criticism or as a veiled attack on them, and the mood change that would have happened. So be really honest. Did that shared humour really remain shared and a relaxing moment, or were you dancing to their tune even in those apparently innocent, humorous moments? And what about the scenario of somebody you employed? Maybe they became your right-hand person, or maybe it was somebody a little lower down the chain, and they were so helpful, they did so much, they shared the load. Again, maybe they brought a sense of humour and an approach to things that really resonated with you. But think about the cost. Did they really lighten your load, or had you worked out what their terms and conditions, unspoken or otherwise, were? And were you giving them tasks and responsibilities that you knew would be agreeable and acceptable to them? Think about how you were dancing to their tune, because you will have been. Let's think about the scenario of going out for nice meals or pleasant evenings out to the theatre, to the opera, whatever it may have been. Think back. If you did genuinely have a really nice night with no upset, no argument, no sulking during or after the evening, what price did you have to pay afterwards? How many times were you made to remember how much they spent on you on that single occasion or in general? They will remind you that you owe them in some way for this thing or all these things that they give you. But maybe if you remember honestly enough, you will find moments during that evening or during that holiday where you know that again you were dancing to their tune, you were walking on eggshells, you were not completely relaxed, if you're honest with yourself. So, if you are or have been dealing with a toxic personality in your personal life or in your business life, you will have been paying the price. So get clear on that. Be honest with yourself. Grab your sheet, get a digital notepad up, and start making a log of those good times that are reeling you back in and making you want to give it another go or keep going, and the reality, the real cost of having those things. I'd love you to share with me how you get on with this exercise, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.